What's up, everybody? Thralls here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have yet another album review for you. Or rather, an EP review this time. So one that I definitely had on my radar because I absolutely fucking love this band. So far, everything they've put out has been killer. Was the new EP from Hyperdontia, Deranged. This comes out actually on the 15th of March, which is kind of strange because we're waiting for everything to come out on St. Patty's Day. But this one kind of snuck in early, and man, am I fucking glad, because I've been listening to their lead single, Deluded, for a while, and I've been eagerly anticipating this one. So again, it comes out on the 15th of March on multiple labels, namely Dark Descent, Misako Unojo, and Desiccated Productions, in terms of like various different kinds. Like I think 2 different CD versions come out, courtesy of Dark Descent and Misako Unojo, and then Desiccated has a tape version. There's probably a vinyl version that's coming out on one of them too. But yeah, 3 labels listed, so they're really getting this shit distributed. So this band formed in 2015 in both Denmark and Turkey, which is really cool. This is an international band. This is their 3rd EP overall. They have 2 full lengths that are both awesome, Nexus of Teeth and Hideous Entity. Both of them absolutely killer, disgusting old school death metal. And well, I mean, that should be so because these guys all come from like pretty notable acts in the death metal scene in both Turkey and Denmark, namely Decaying Purity, Sulphurous, Phrenolith, Diabolizer, and Burial Invocation. And plenty of other ones, but those are the ones that I own and I know I really like, so I wanted to bring them up. And yeah, no, this is just fucking killer fucking death metal.
Yeah, flat out fucking unrelenting brutality. It's only 17 minutes long, but man, they really pack a fucking punch into 17 minutes. Starts right off with Nauseous Hallucinations, shockingly violent opening. Like we both jumped.
Yeah.
That's how no filler, no nothing, just pow right there.
And no filler, no nothing, like in terms of like extra shit or atmosphere. That is for the entire EP. There are no breaks in terms of like atmosphere or like some weird horror synth thing or a movie sample. There's no time for that. We have fucking riffs and brutality to get to. And there's literally no time wasted on here.
None whatsoever. Like not a single moment. And it's like a breath of fresh air, because most death metal bands, even when they release an EP, still fill it with crap. Like a sample or an interlude. Like
a sample's fine, but like if you have an intro to your EP, it's like, no, that's time wasted. Unless you're like transitioning really well into the music.
Yeah.
No, get to it, because we have a short offering. Like you're offering an appetizer and probably a teaser for things to come. I don't want to be teased by something I'll more than likely hear on the album that I think will be extra too.
Exactly. I've always felt that way about EPs. Like, come on, don't put that shit on there. Just give me music. And these guys fucking deliver.
Nauseous Hallucinations does a great job of pivoting back and forth between just brutal, fast, blast beat driven, chunky riffs, very much in the vein of Suffocation, but with some like Morbid Angel style tremolos sort of mixed in there. And it pivots back and forth between really cool groovy sections, and holy shit, does this album groove. There are so many headbangable moments, like namely the track Deluded, which again was their first single. I fucking loved it. I jammed that song so many goddamn times. And I love the fact that the riff that carries it is the center of the groove. It just keeps you latched on, and your head will bob the entire time.
Yeah, I like the fact that the groove is never sacrificed. Like, they find this really awesome riff, and they just keep it there the whole time. And they do things to, spice it up, little tremolos, little pinches and squeals. But, like, the main root of that groove never leaves.
The pace of this EP is, I would say, kind of breakneck, just because, like, all right, you do get some good space in between the tracks, but tracks start abruptly. Like, you are fucking thrown right into it. And honestly, like, I kind of like that. I kind of like being caught off guard every fucking time. But every time I'm greeted to just sick fucking riffs. A little bit technical at times, but like mostly just rooted in the riffs. Like you have some more like dissonant tremolos that are just fucking just gnarly sounding, and a little bit more technical on Gagging and Convulsion, which maybe are a little bit like similar to a band like Hate Eternal, but it returns to, again, the root, like that groove and riff and absolute fucking pummeling. And the breakdowns on this album, or EP rather, I'm going to call it an album because I feel like I just listened to a full fucking album. Yep. Even though it's only 17 minutes, I got everything I fucking wanted on here. But yeah, like, they hit so damn hard. You were just constantly kind of sucked into these songs with the riffs.
And don't let us make you think that it's all chaos all the time. In fact, Degradations of the Flesh actually slows it down to a more mid-tempo pace, like Cannibal Corpse-style stomps and these crazy riffs in here. Again, while doing these riffs, they throw in little flourishes this time. Like in the middle of the breakdown riff, you get these like little tremolo flourishes that break it up ever so perfectly, so you have no choice but to go, ugh, and then air guitar.
I mean, some of that actually kind of reminded me of Cannibal Corpse's Return to Flesh Off the Bleeding. Like, that slower, kind of more moody song. It does pick up the pace, but not to like blast beat pace. Like, it's more of like a mid-tempo stomp. But the thing I like about this song, and the entire album, is, again, the pacing is great. There's really no fat to trim off of this. Nope. Everything is just pretty much there for the right amount of time, and while it is very rooted in bands that are very familiar to us and very familiar to a lot of death metal heads, it is done so fucking well.
The album overall is mixed incredibly well. We were talking about this upstairs. Like, it's the right amount of compression, but it doesn't sacrifice any of the natural sound to all the instruments. Like, if this were, say, techie at some points, nothing is lost. Everything sounds like the guitars are gritty and crunchy and chuggy. The drums are very natural sounding and huge, too. You can tell he's beating the piss out of the drums. Like, every time he hits that snare drum, it's like he forgets his sticks and he's hitting it with a fucking hammer.
And the bass work in here is awesome, too, especially on Degradations of Flesh. Like, you hear this really cool bass run underneath these, like, dissonant sort of strumming chords. Like, they're kind of just letting him do a lead behind there, and because the bass is really clean sounding, like it's not hyper distorted or buried, like you can hear all the cool bass runs he's doing.
And he does a bunch of them. Most of the transitions in all of these songs is done by a little, like, isolated bass solo, or in Gagging and Convulsion, where the transition this time is like this little isolated drum fill, which is really cool. But they do such a nice job of chopping everything up while letting everything shine.
Yeah, and the drum work in here is fantastic, just in terms of, like, this is just solid death metal drumming. And you can hear him kind of like, shift around to very familiar drummers in terms of death metal, like in terms of their styles. Like, you have hyper fast blast beats, very along the lines of like Pete Sandoval, but he also does those, heavier blast beats more associated with Mike Smith in terms of that full extension hit, like really gets it popping, especially on Diluted and Nauseous Hallucinations.
Yes.
The lead work on here is short, but it's peppered in the right spots. And the lead tone cuts through everything. Like, you can hear it clearly. It's not buried in the mix at all. In fact, again, once the mix in here is awesome. That is Greg Wilkinson of Autopsy who did this. He actually did their last album, Hideous Entity, and I thought that mix was pretty solid. I did think it got a little muddy at times, but this is fucking crystal clear, and once again, that right level of compression. It gives room for all the instruments to shine in here, and even the vocals, which are a giant, powerful fucking roar in here. Like, they sound fucking gnarly.
I mean, he sounds a lot like Frank.
Yeah.
Like, hands down. But yeah, like, nothing overpowers anything. Just a brilliant mix, and it just a straight fucking punch to the head.
Yeah.
At all times.
There's a lot of nods to Floridian death metal on here. Like, you get a little bit of that thrashy anchor to some of the songs, especially in Gagging and Convulsion. There's some stuff in there that is very similar to, like, Deicide, Malevolent Creation, and Monstrosity. Just flat out ripping, fast, thrashy riffs and thrashier rhythms behind it. This EP checks off pretty much everything I love about death metal in general. And definitely checks off everything I love about old school death metal. Like, this is the kind of shit that I would fucking go absolutely nuts for as a teenager too.
Yep, I agree with all that. Fucking woo.
This is perfectly paced. It's abrupt and in your face. It delivers fucking nasty riffs. It's fucking great death metal, and I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. This is an absolutely banger EP. All killer, no filler. There is nothing I would trim off of this. This is prime fucking center cut fucking beef right here. Nothing but, like, killer riffs that hang out for the right amount of time. Great lead work, great vocals, drum work's fucking sick. And honestly, nothing extra. Like, there's really nothing extra because they really didn't need it. The music shines on its own. There's no need for, like, extra horror synths or anything like that, and I love that sort of thing. But this is just great as, like, just a fucking bullet train, a fucking blitz of death metal. Go out and get this. If you're a fan of Suffocation, Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse, Deicide, name a death metal band that likes blast beats and riffs. You will like this.
Name a death metal band from Florida.
Yeah.
Or from New York.
Yeah, pick one.
Anyone.
Pick one.
Yep.
Throne, Blood Red Throne too. Yeah, they kind of sound like them too. Pick a death metal band. This is awesome death metal. Get it.
Yeah. I, too, also give this 4.5 stars. In fact, I really am leaning higher on the 4.5 star range because this is just so fucking nasty. Just from the very first drum hit to the very last guitar chord strum, it's just in your face. It is violently heavy in all the right ways. Again, it's not too flashy, but just punch after punch after punch after punch. The riffs just keep coming. They stick with the groove when they're supposed to. They hold on to riffs. It's just beauty to the ears as far as death metal is concerned, and especially, again, the nods to old school death metal. Like, this is all of the things that I cut my teeth on in death metal, and one of the reasons I fell in love with death metal were sounds just like this.
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff you get your teeth knocked out to now.
Right. It kind of makes Hyperdontia a weird thing, which is having too many teeth, so I guess...
Oh, they're going to take care of that.
I guess knocking out those too many teeth would be this, but yeah, this is fucking brilliant. My only gripe is that it's not longer, because I could have used 6 more songs of this violent, ultra-heavy brutality. I fucking love it. Go out and buy it. I'm going to go buy it. It's badass.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below to thrallsmetal.com. Our Patreon link is there, obviously, because I said that. But also, our store is there. We will be reloading on stuff like shirts and whatever other crazy shit we think of. But that won't be until after Denver Death Fest.
After Denver Death Fest, which by now, by the time you see this review, we'll have a little bit more than a month. Like 3 days more than a month. A month and 3 days. It's right around the fucking corner. We're super excited. Got some killer bands, some absolutely killer bands for a first attempt at doing this. We have some awesome fucking death metal bands, which I'm super proud of. Anyway, I'm not going to keep gushing about that. $60 for 3 days, $45 for 2, or $25 for 1. If you don't come out for all of it, at least come out for a day if you're in the area. Even if you're not in the area, man, fucking fly out, hang out with Thralls of Metal. We're going to be there. Check out the lineup, denverdeathfest.com. Get some big heavy hitters on there. We're all very excited. Expect to see some sort of interview content, something or other, coming in the next few days, weeks, whatever, leading up to the fest. But yeah, do it. Denver Death Fest. Go. I'm going. Nick's going. I have to get plane tickets.
Plane tickets.
Like now.
Yes.
But yeah, go.
And of course, thank you all so much for liking, subscribing, following, all that shit. Once again, the thank you part of the video where I think of nothing else to say other than thank you and probably something else awkward.
Thank you.
But yeah, know that we mean it, and it's just cool doing this. Like,
and you know what's really cool is that as time, we've been doing this, what, 5 years?
Four?
Almost 5. Yeah, it's just pretty cool. You know, you think like, man, I want to take a break. No, I want to keep going. It just keeps getting cooler and cooler. We really, it's become such a big part of our lives.
Honestly, it's been one of the coolest things I think I've done in my life, which probably says a lot about my life. But anyway,
fair enough.
It's amazing, and we love you all, and we will catch you later.